after this, the price definitely gotta go up. Yeah. What you expect? Told you I wanted, I got it.
All right, welcome back. If you've made it this far, you've heard our introductions. So I feel like we can just get right to the shits. So this one is Devin Booker versus Donovan Spider Mitchell. Definitely, I kind of like this one. This feels a little bit more fair. I mean, not to say Steph and James Harden wasn't, but this is like some different little bit of flavor. Some up and coming guys who are still like young. They're both in the same conference. They're just doing their stuff in the league. So what are your thoughts on those two? Who would you take?
I'm going Devin out the gate. And honestly, I don't think it's fair because the workload that one is expected to carry and the workload that the other one has isn't similar. With Giannis and LeBron, they both are the workhorse for their team. Steph and Harden are the workhorse for their team. Donovan isn't certifiably the workhorse of that team. He doesn't even take the last shot guaranteed. Bogdan does. Michael Conley might. They might throw an alley-oop to Rudy Gobert. But on a team where you got two other people who can also score 40 on any night, in Boban or Mike Conley, Mike Conley, let's say 30. Let's not say 40. It's not really around anymore. But I can't. He doesn't shoulder what Devin is over there carrying in Phoenix. Even though he hasn't carried him to a playoff spot, he's even just carried him to being able to contest night in and night out. At least they can do that.
So according to sources, I just learned that Kaminsky is a member of the Phoenix Suns. I did not know that until I got this text that said that they saw Kaminsky throwing bricks in his driveway. And I was like, I wonder if he's coming to the bubble. The Suns are a weird bunch to me because, well, I want to believe in the Suns. I like Kelly Oubre. Devin's a dog, obviously. But it's one of those things, and, this might even be honest if they don't, really get their shit together, where you have the young talent and, he could dip for, greener pastures if you don't, at least show him that you can do some more winning. And that's the thing that's kind of tough about these kind of conversations is that, like, well, yeah, Donovan Mitchell, doesn't necessarily have to do the same things that Devin Booker is asked to do because he has a lot more around him. I have no idea who the Utah Jazz coach is, for the record. But, yeah, I mean, I will say what Devin's been doing in the league so far has been great. I mean, I know the Suns are hot garbage, but the wins they do put together is from him. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I know they're trying. They got Ricky Rubio from the Jazz in that deal. So I mean, not to say they're going to do anything in the bubble, but they got Monty Williams. So who knows? Maybe next year they can learn how to play basketball together. I don't know, but it can't be
so
lose.
I hear you. What you're saying. Yeah, Devin is all by himself. But first off, I'm gonna say Michael Conley Jr. is averaging 13.8 per game. So if you honestly think he's dropping 30, I don't know, bro. We might have to check it out for 2K. I'll put $50 on the line, and I'm very confident. If you got some confidence in Michael Conley Jr.
Conley will give you
and then
5.
no, what is his life on the line? No, he's not. Those days are over. But this is about Donovan Mitchell, so I'm gonna make this about Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
Here's the thing with Donovan. I think he is a workhorse. Yeah, he's not got to the point where he's taking that last shot. He's a very unselfish basketball player. And I think until he triggers that, like, yo, dude, you got to be the best player on this team, night in, night out. This team is not successful unless you drop X amount of points, unless you do X, Y, and Z. Until that triggers, he's not going. this is the performance that we're going to get. His performance is not lackluster. He's averaging, he's putting up his points. That's what we need him to do. But not only is he putting up his points, he's also making sure his team is winning. Yes, they have a little bit better of a team, but Devin Booker is dropping 60 points. But what's 60 points when your team has 14 wins for the whole season? You know what I'm saying? Like, we need you to make these points and make sure your team wins. Devin Booker got 2 more seasons over Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's only in his 3rd year, and he's, in my opinion, playing better than Devin Booker. Devin Booker still has not grown. Yeah, he's a scorer. That's not debatable. We knew that 2 years ago. I've been to a lot of games ever since. I feel like I go to every single Suns versus Sixers game, and every single time he's dropping 40 plus. That's cool and all, but at the end of the day, it's like, what's coming out of that? And yes, this is about individual performance, or how well your teammate is important.
But Donovan isn't the blame if the Jazz don't make the playoffs. We're not going to blame Donovan. We're going to blame Rich Snyder. That's the coach, by the way. But we're going to blame him. He looks like – I always remember him because he always like slick back hair. He never smiles. Every time I see him, his arms are folded. He looks like Harry's dad from Spider-Man. That's what I always think. Yeah. But Devin is just burdened with carrying something that he can't carry, and that we are coming to realize maybe you aren't a number one, but if, in the case that he is a number 2 to someone, to let's say Anthony Davis in the future or some other high-end player, he may be a number 2. That may be what Devin Booker is. But if he is that, Donovan Mitchell to me is already pretty established to me as a number 2 because he's not carrying that workload of the Jazz. He's not. I don't believe that Donovan Mitchell's going to get the supermax. I don't see that.
Well, you got to take into consideration, again, he's in his 3rd year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shameless plug, Ben Simmons deserved that Rookie of the Year, but we'll go back to what we were talking about. So he's only in his 3rd year. Devin Booker's in his 5th year. Now, it's funny that you say, Donovan Mitchell is going to not going to get the blame if the Jazz don't make the playoffs. We can't even say that about Devin Booker because in his 5th year, he still hasn't made the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell has not only made the playoffs, but beat a team, you know what I'm saying, in the Oklahoma City Thunder that was, people was like rooting for low key.
Yeah, I remember that series, yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, I hear what you're saying, but like, take that even further in the sense of they might both be number 2s, but at the same time, Donovan Mitchell's on his 3rd year. Once he gets like year 5, year 6, we'll start to see a little bit because even look at, and it's a further discussion, but Jason Tatum, same time period they came in, but they're both kind of, they're going at the same pace, but Jason Tatum's going to be great, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, shameless plug here. A column that I have on the site is Mount Rushlift, and the idea behind it is that, when we look at teams that have been like historically bad, we tend to just blame the team. The Browns. I would say a lot of not before, but after the Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire years, the Suns, and I think we tend to just think that these teams are cursed. And what that column tries to do is look at the owners and what their responsibility is in that. And I understand that they don't dribble the ball, they don't throw the passes. But if you just continue to make shitty decision after shitty decision, then you could also hold your team back. And so the Suns just seem like they're stuck because theoretically speaking, I mean, what's stopping the Suns from being in the Jazz? And so I think when you look when you look at where the Suns are, when I look at Devin Booker, I know we kind of scoffed at this earlier in the group chat when I brought up the Knicks, but it's like, I mean, not to say that if he was on the Knicks, they'd be like the 3rd seed. But if we take Devin Booker, we put him on the Knicks, I mean, does he look a lot better than what he's done in the with Phoenix, not just necessarily because he's moving teams, but because he's in the Eastern Conference. So, because I mean, you look at his scoring, and I mean, who knows? That could be the same thing as just saying like, oh, John Wall or whatever, another scoring guard that's in the East. Maybe he's a 7-8 seed, and they don't really do anything after that. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. I know, obviously in his 5th year, it's looking like, all right, what are you about to do? And I know they'll throw money because you better. You better throw money.
Well, time out.
Carver.
They didn't want to pay KD, so Devin might not come into a max contract in New York. I'm paying KD if KD got hit by a car in front of me. He can get a max contract from me right there. On the way to the hospital with the broken leg, I will sign him.
Does Devin really deserve a super max or a max contract? I mean, he did.
I don't know.
It's an investment. Like, what's your return on your investment? He gets a return on his investment because he's going to keep dropping 60 for himself. But as far as the Suns organization, I mean, they still going to have empty seats. So at the end of the day, now, if he were to travel somewhere, maybe to a bigger market, then it's like, we can give you a super max because now this is what we expect. We expect X, Y, and Z of you. Similar to like Carmelo. I mean, granted, Carmelo's a little bit better in Denver, but when he went to New York, it was kind of like, all right, we're expecting much more of you as well because you're now in a bigger market. So we also can pay you a little differently, pay you a little bit more, even though you may not have proven this salary. But at the end of the day, so I think right now in Phoenix, like he doesn't get that contract. So.
Another thing about that though too is that, and this is one thing I tried to start thinking about a lot more with players. Do you really want to sign up? And not to say that like as a free agent that he's going to New York. I'm not trying to start that. But do you really want to sign up for the pressure that's going to come with going to some of those big market teams? Like I know you think you might, and I know you think you might want out of here, wherever that is. But I mean, look at Carmelo. I mean, you go to the Knicks and you're doing the same OU, and they probably had more success than what they've had previously. But that starts to get put on you, and it's like, at the end of the day, was it worth it? Like, do you want to just stay in Phoenix? You don't have any expectations, and you get to drop, 60 a game and just like go chill out? Or
and I think to bring it back to the whole like Donovan versus Devin is, like you said, like, yeah, you could stay in Phoenix and stuff like that, but I think the biggest difference is Donovan, I feel like, is on a mission to make the Utah Jazz a better organization, a better team. The Utah Jazz haven't really seen success in quite a while. And the last time they got a taste of success, they tried to forget about it. And, just a couple months ago, it was now brought to the forefront of their mind. So I think, like, that's one. Whereas I don't feel like Devin Booker is like, you know what, yeah, I'm in Phoenix. Yeah, I might not have the greatest team. But, dude, you got DeAndre Ayton. Like, you guys can start something that Steve Nash and Amari had. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're obviously a different player. But, dude, these pick and rolls, get them popping. Get DeAndre Ayton down low. Kick it out. You good, man. Let's get it.
To hit on that now, one thing that I will always, factor into any player comparison is the upbringing of that player. Not too many players come in the league and grow on their own. A lot of times they have the coaches behind them. Devin Booker's 22, I believe. And I believe this is his 5th coach.
Thank you. That's what I mean.
He had no foundation. He's coming to nothing. He's coming to the aftermath of the blow-up from Steve Nash and them, and they haven't repaired since then. They haven't had a solid core since that. So it's like he's coming into something that's not being uplifted for him. And that's going to hit on how you said in the beginning, Tyrone, like, is he going to become one of those players who's like, I want to get out of here. I want to go somewhere else. Like, or is he going to be cool with just taking 60 a night? And because he does have a 5-year, like $150 million contract. So, I mean, he's getting paid, but at the same time, it's like, when does winning become something that bothers you? I'm worried about that. I'm worried about Devin becoming content. I don't want to become content because I do believe that Devin Booker can be better than Donovan Mitchell if put in the right situation.
So you're saying he's not?
No, he is. He just – you all will see it. Let me say that. y'all will realize, like, okay, that's what he really meant. Like, this is what he saw. Like, then you'll see it.
I feel you. Because I see that. I still got a chance in the league, bro. I see it. Y'all, maybe the world don't see it, but I see it. I'm about to go play ball tomorrow. I see it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I hear what you're saying. Yeah. That's definitely valid.
All right. So the next one, and this should be really good. I'm definitely excited. So I mean, we thought this one was about young guys. The next one is going to be even younger. We got a little bit more investment in here with one of the guys here being a fan of said team and having some investment there. So the next one is Trey versus Luca. Again, if you haven't already, check out the ones that came before here. And definitely check out the Trey versus Luca one that we have next. Stay with us. Oh, that was the timer. All right, peace.